All right, the morning after. Morning after? Morning after the morning after. Headed home Monday. Today's Tuesday. Got home yesterday. This is the first time I'm coherent for review stuff. It was a good event. Ragnarocktoberfest. What a good event. This was the second official one. But no, really good. Very good overall. Still trying to package everything in my mind to share. Got in on, you know what, we're just going to talk about, I'm going to unpack things first as kind of a reminder of things, and then we'll kind of do a synopsis after. I think I did it the other way at End War, so that's okay. Hey, bud, excuse me. Not nearly as much swaggish things. It was a little more of a matter-of-fact trip this time. So not as much stuff to report on like, hey, I got cool things, as much as here are the things that I brought for those of you who did not come. Okay, unpacking. Hi, excuse me, look out. Got a little double strike project. Stop smelling things. Just give me some room. Thank you. Small double strike. Yes. Simple, just single shot. Slightly modified grip with handle scales and a glow strike. The silly little light up pistol-y single shot thing on the front to just give it a little classy thing here and some nice lines up there. So let me get out of the way so you can see the profile better. Yeah, just a simple little single shot. This actually was just a regular double strike backup. Got a pair, let me open these so you can see them, of Containment Crew's Ragnarocktoberfest event-specific limited edition blah 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 flywheels. If that'll even focus on those. Kind of, yeah. I'll add a still shot. But these are the Inferno Wheels. These are my first set of Infernos, so I think I might build something special to run these in, or I might just have to buy some regular garden variety, normal, everyday Infernos to put them in something. But it's a good looking flywheel. Has a little bit of character and personality and stuff like that. I like these a lot, and someday I'll tell you about a special project involved with those. That's another tale for another time. Containment Crew magnet. They have magnets now. But I don't have anything magnetic. They don't stick to doorknobs. Here. Thanks. Good boy. Got a... Where's the rest of my resin? Got some resin parts from Biggs in Z, who I would hope that you know, who does the resin casting, New Zealand-based resin casting. Dang, this one got hot, I think, and warped a little bit. He was walking around with a big pile of parts, and he's just going around, and he's like, yeah, I got this big box of things, take them, or whatever. And I thought, hey, that's really cool. So, yeah, giving out freebies. So I got Strife mag release, Rev trigger, and a Chronos trigger, and stuff like that. So I'll eventually be throwing those in something. But the quality of these is just really impressive. Even the clears are just a very nice, consistent, even clear. I would show them closer. I'll try to get some stills of these as well, just to kind of show the quality. But if you're, I don't know, if I'm the first time that you've heard about Biggs's parts, then boy, you ain't living. Lots of people have been using Biggs's parts. Really impressive stuff. Multiple colors available, multiple platforms. He does Strife parts. He does some Desolator. Yeah, I think those were his first ones, actually. Strife bits, Chronos bits, things like that. Check him out, Biggs in Z. So that was really cool meeting him for the first time. He's a big guy. Good heavens. Like, his name is Biggs, but he's big, and it's just... Big guy. Got some Jace 3D parts, Pandemonium, who I was staying with. got them because it's Australia-based and everything, and so to save on shipping, I just had him pick me up some things and brought them over with him. It's a Demolisher hamp removal hand grip thing. One of those. And a grip heel for something, and some mag release parts and things like that for various other projects. This is a Vector Magwell kit piece that a local guy got, who bought it online from a guy who had some people sign it. I think he had a Drax signature and apparently Al the Geek and a few others. But then they all faded, and the local guy didn't know that. I don't remember if he knew that it had been signed, but he's like, hey, there's all these signatures on here, but the signatures are all gone. Gave it to me and said, hey, can you get these signatures replaced? And I said, yeah. So I got as many as I could. I've got Alex, the MTB Wizard, got Silver Fox Industries, got X, got Out of Darts, got my signature that I autographed for the person who owned this before, Buff Daddy, Biggs, Random Shadow, Brett, Spam, Containment Crew Charles, Alice Coat Duck, Drax signed it again, Walrus, Addy from Foam Blast, and even had Winston Moy, who was also staying with us, who's a makery type guy that plays with like fancy machining machines, CNC stuff. CNC guy, actually, that dude, who seems like just a pretty darn swell chap. Met him for, he was hanging out with Alice. We were working on a collaboration project. It's super neat. I don't know if, I think Alice is supposed to be showing her side of their little collaboration on her channel, so check it out. It's always got good stuff on it. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, I was able to get autographs on that for one of our guys. I got a fancy Barrett sticker. I think it's a sticker. I took it from his table and assumed it was a sticker, but it's Brett with Sledgefire and Saxby Z. Went next door to the Foam Blast booth and bought a Hammershot spring for a Hammershot that's in here that I'll show you in a minute. It was the, whatever the worker one is, it's like 8 kilograms or so, not sure. I just needed more spring than the spacer did. Those are clothes, not nearly as interesting as anything else. Brought Mega Darts, because I needed real Mega Darts for the Warthog, which is in here. Got my dispenser mag pack, which I think I intended to make a video on before I left, but I think maybe I'll do a post-action report of sorts. It's a mag dispenser backpack in the style of Zombona and Carius that basically you have a magazine, and you have a magazine, and you have a magazine, you have a magazine, and 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 a magazine. Also had these narrow base Hammershot holders on the sides, so it keeps it kind of up out of the way, off my belt, and stuff like that. But no, really impressive setup. I was really happy with not only the way the backpack fit, because I've never really liked backpacks anyway. But no, as far as it worked out pretty well for Stalking Dead. Didn't get a whole lot of action, but no, I was really impressed. It worked as good as I wanted, at least. So yeah, did the job, and I'm probably going to use this for more end war type, long play games and stuff like that. Might tweak it more in the future. I mentioned this in my post on Facebook and Instagram. I added these Molly strips on the side so I can mount the Molly mount holsters on there, so I could add really whatever the heck I want, any kind of other holster or mag holder or anything else on there. And I'm thinking about adding a few more strips so I can have a little more flexibility on what I'm adding. Might even add some like maybe here or up here instead of this. I don't know. It'll be kind of an evolutionary process, but yes, the mag backpack, for those of you who saw the posts before and said, hey, I wonder how that worked. It worked pretty good. I was really happy with it. Everything dispensed fine. Nothing fell out. That was a concern a lot of people had. Had to keep the mags from falling out, and they just don't. If I was clever, I would have left all the magazines in the backpack instead of putting them in the way. Hi. Hi. You are just so helpful. You are just so helpful. I brought the jackal, was on display on my table. For those of you who are wondering how the project is going, it's going very much the same as it was at End War, which is very much the same as probably last time you saw it, because I don't think I've actually done a video update on anything because there's been nothing to update. But it is very much still here and very much still a work in progress. But it's very much still makes people happy. It still seems to be a channel favorite and always makes people smile when they see it. I have more clothes for packing material. Got my green team Stalking Dead bandana. So I can add that with my blue team from last year and my End War things and my other cool bandanas. I need to find a cool way to display. How do you display a whole lot of bandanas and things? Like, a lot of people like pin them up, but suddenly that's like a lot of space that you don't have for hanging up like blasters or other cool things. And so, yeah, I need to like make some kind of hangery-do kind of thing so I can hang up bandanas. Sling. Magazine. I managed to package things better this year than at End War, and so there's still significant damage to pretty much everything, but not nearly as much damage as last year, or as at End War. So, see, and the benefit of having like fat thighs is that you can fit even really big blasters in your pants. Not when you're wearing your pants, but if you want to put blasters in pants because they're durable and add cushion and stuff like that. So, Yellow Jacket is very much, again, also very much the way it was in the last, in the last update video on it, but it's still cool, and I have more plans for it in the future. It is not going anywhere right now as far as I'm not abandoning the project. I just have other cool things at the moment. Hi. Are you yawning? Is it this boring? These are the two hammer shots, stock hammer shots that I use on my backpack setup for Stalking Dead, which I did not end up having to use, but they're still there. Another double strike project, which I believe I've shown on the Facebook and Instagram, but not here. So if you're watching, I think there's a live stream that I talked about this once. But anyway, it's a double strike with the AR assembly from a dual strike, the Elite and Mega guy, with a Persuader grip, I think, and a few other odds and ends. But just another little happy little pistol-y guy. There we go. Fair performance, but another project which will be getting done and then going to somebody else, and I'll let them talk about it more sometime. More pants! And my wife's blaster, which took even more damage and broke off more of the little optic sight thing. So if you know anywhere where you can get like this worker, not a rail, but kind of a rail cover with the cool little loop optic-y guy on it, because I've only seen it available in this kit with kind of the little slant nose guy, but I don't want to buy the whole kit again. So if you know any place where you can get just this guy, that'd be super cool, because I'd love to rebuild that and replace it. And then probably not ship this thing on an airplane anymore. But so it was cool. A lot of people liked it and thought it was really cute, which I thought was very appropriate, since it's supposed to be, kind of, since it's my wife's. And wow. Airline people, that's pretty impressive. It's very impressive. Oh, you guys really screwed that up. There we go. Warthog made the trip successfully for the most part. Got it running. There again, I don't think I've reported here, but I got a 3D printed cage in there with out of Dart's 380 rival motors, which are able to fling these mega darts upwards of 120 easily. In fact, averages about 120, which doesn't sound fast until you realize that, like, especially the AccuFake style megas are really heavy and very solid and fly very well. And in fact, I was able to launch this thing not really angling too bad, but just kind of angling the average Nerf amount, and able to launch all the way across the gym, actually over to Alice's booth on the other end. So it's getting closer and closer to being more practical. I just need to work out the details on the this little bit here, which will help lock in the back end for swapping cylinders. So that was cool, being able to show it off actually functioning this time. It raised a few eyebrows. Love from New Zealand. Biggs brought me a New Zealand tote bag full of, I don't know if it's a New Zealand exclusive or just, or what the situation exactly is. I'm not sure what that is. A cookie and some Cadbury and Whittaker's. Anyway, some kind of New Zealand-y chocolates, and I'm not sure what this is. Apparently a New Zealand magnet. So I'll stick that on the fridge and then see if the wife asks what the heck that means. So, all right. So thank you very much, Biggs. It's really awesome to meet you. If you're watching, I don't know if you watch me at all, but if you don't, I don't take offense to it. Trust me. But thank you very much for the tote bag and just being a swell guy. It was really cool to meet you. All right, got my belt load out for Super Stock, which is a much lighter and simpler setup. Just a handful of mag holders and a dump pouch. Excuse me. My belt from Stalking Dead. It was just basically a separate dump pouch for dumping mags out of the backpack. This is an ongoing project, which I think I've shown here. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it anyway. It's been in the background, at the very least. But it's a commission, on and off commission project. It's a Strife long shot, crossbolt, rattler, Super Soaker rattler. Just kind of a, I don't know. I have the basic shape filled out, but I haven't really defined a lot of the aspects of it. So, yeah, just a simple, kind of smaller type rifle-y integration. Your face is right in the way. Got the General Mayhem, which still has not really seen the channel yet. Took a beating, broke a big chunk out of the motor cover on the way over, which is a bummer and bums me out a lot. So I'll have to try to fix that without ruining the look of things, but I still need to do the overview on this, so remind me once in a while. I need to get out and do that, especially before the weather turns totally nasty. But got to show it off a little bit. More pants. And lastly-ish, I have Devil's Hand, which it's sporting. It's fresh for Ragnarok paint job, finally. Just a, there again, vinyl die, but with a lace stocking mask to get kind of a pattern. I don't know if you can see that. Gives it kind of a fancy, I don't know if it's really a camo-y, but it kind of breaks up the look. But so yeah, finally got paint on it, and this was its first war with its new paint job, and operated quite nicely for me, actually. Overview video on that coming soon as well, once I get it kind of finalized a little bit. But it's getting closer, and it has paint. I actually have a thing with paint on it, and it makes me happy. Okay. If you'll recall, last year at Ragnarok, I told a story about getting a blaster from a guy, and I was supposed to pay him because my wife was coming back from lunch with money, and then she ended up not bringing money. But the guy said, "Don't worry about it. We'll catch up later." I found the guy again, and it really made me happy. In fact, I was hoping to find him, and then it was like actually at the end of the event. And I was walking outside, and he had a vendor booth with all of his stuff, and I was like, "Hey, I owe you money," and so I was able to finally settle up on that. And then I bought a Rebel. What they call this? It's the Girly Speed Swarm. It's probably got a silly name. I don't remember what it is, though. Anyway, there it is, and it's got the little sling with the little mesh bag thing, which I think came with it originally. But anyway, so I've got this guy for Backyard Wars. I've been wanting to get one of these, or a Speed Swarm. Speed Swarm. I understand these are a little better than the Speed Swarm, which is cool. So that'll come later. That'll do a little mini mod on that or something. And then he insisted I take this with him as well, and he says, make something cool out of it. It's got such cool lines, but it needs to have a magazine or something. And so we kicked around the idea of either adding a regular magazine in the bottom or adding like a rival magazine through the really top, or the top thing. So this is like the, is this the Rip Saw, and the following one was the Saw? Can't remember how it worked. Anyway, this is the predecessor to the more common bluish one that has kind of the elongated nose on it, but it's a ballistic ball thing that you basically rev up, and it's got a gigantic flywheel on it, and then you pull it, and it has a little hopper that drops balls into it. So he gave me that, and basically as a challenge saying, make it cool and practical because it's kind of neat. So I'll do some brainstorming on that and see how that goes. And these are just the tools. I put a lot of tools on the table for display because a lot of people ask in videos and things like that. They're like, what tools do you use? Do you use a Dremel? Do you use a bandsaw? I brought the basic set of tools that I use, not necessarily all the tools, but a representation of the tools that I use anyway. Different kinds of files, hobby knife, the DevCon. A lot of people asking about the DevCon because they don't know what it looks like or anything. So it's like, here's the actual product I use that I'm actually using right now, just to show on hand. What I did here. All these projects on the table were made out of these tools. Just kind of a full picture kind of thing, full context of stuff. But I need to take this screwdriver out for the last thing. Because I got this devilish little thing from Brett. If you've seen Beret, whose name is Brett, who sometimes wears a beret. Anyway, he had his review video on it and talked about how bad it is and evil and how much he wanted to kill it. And so I just sent him a message and was like, if you hate it so much, would you like to trade for it? And he basically said, why the heck would you punish your friends with this thing? And I said, well, I'm not gonna, I'm just curious. Because in our local group, we talked about this kind of thing for some of our games before this kind of thing actually existed. And so I kind of kicked around the idea of buying one, but I just hadn't really done it. And so I was like, hey, if you hate this thing, can I try it out? And I'd given him some stuff in the past, and so he's like, well, you already gave me this, that, and the other thing, so maybe we'll just call this a trade. And I thought that was good enough. Anyway, so he threw this at me threateningly at the event, and so, but just out of curiosity, we're just going to take a quick look at it anyway, because it's supposed to make noise or whatever. And I'm just realizing now that the lipo that was in here was in my checked bag, which you're not supposed to have lipos in there, but I'd kind of forgotten at the time that it was even in there. So sorry, airline people, for having a potentially explosive firebomb in my luggage. That was not my intention. It just kind of worked out that way out of negligence. So, yeah, so we're supposed to, how's it work? No, the pin is in it. Anyway, for our local games, sometimes in the arena, when there's like no regular people around, when it's just us kind of more hobbyist people, then we'll go through and we'll like turn off all the lights, or yeah, we'll shut off like half the lights and then play around and like shut off all the lights. And that way it's just pitch black because your eyeballs haven't adjusted. So you're just in total blackness, kind of inching around the arena, trying to not like bump into things, and then try to shoot the people on the other team. But if you get hit by your own team, then it's okay too, because basically if you get hit with anything, then you're out because you don't know who's actually shooting. And so it creates this really crazy like paranoia because your ears start hearing all sorts of weird things, because they usually play music in the arena as well, like while we're playing. But when they shut the lights off, it's just nothing. It's like your ears are kind of ringing because it's just so quiet. And if you hear anything, then you're like shooting at everything. But then if you shoot, then people know where you are. And so you're kind of panicking, like, I want to shoot that because it's something. It could be something that I need to shoot. But if I shoot, then I'll get shot. And so, yeah, it creates this kind of fun paranoia. And I always thought it'd be cool. Well, a lot of us had thought it'd be cool to have some kind of flash grenade kind of thing that you could roll over that just flashes like crazy. And then suddenly it's like, oh, crap. You know, I don't know what's going on. And then you can kind of move around a little bit and get a better situation or whatever. We don't have any epileptic people in our group, and so that's kind of been a discussion. For those of you who are about, typing right now saying like, you just want to kill people and screw them up. No, this has been like people know this is coming. This is something we've been wanting to do actively, so. So I'm actually just curious how this works. It's kind of a quiet little beep, so. Ah, jeez! Ha ha! Yeah. You'd think the little warning beep would be sorry, come on, bud, come here. Come back. It's okay. Over here, it's okay. Come on. Sorry about that. Oh, see, that's a scary thing, isn't it? That's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, first order of business is to open it up and to snip the wires on the speaker, because I didn't realize it was that shrill. We just wanted kind of the flashy light bit. So, yeah. That could be fun in a particular environment. So, but yeah, still, again, not recommending this to people to just show up at their wars with, because it'll make everybody hate you. So yeah, that was all of the things I brought to the event and all of the things that I brought home. But the event itself was really well done. Really well done. Got in on Friday. Yeah, Friday. Got in Friday afternoon. Actually kind of helped out with Alice and Winston's little collaboration project thing. Helped them do some photo-y things so they could kind of wrap up their projects and their coverage of their little collaboration thing, which got us to the mod party a bit late. But we still got to get in there and rub shoulders with people and say hi and see what's going on. Lots of cool stuff in there. In fact, that was where I saw, if you saw my posts on Facebook, Instagram, on the Martini, the Jazz Transformers Percy's is I was just walking by and I was like, what the heck is that? And it just grabbed me and just the blaster drugged me across the room to it. And I looked at it and I was like, that's so cool. And I looked up, it was dang Brandon again, Cobalt, who is the one who built Wyvern, which I covered in the End War video, who outdid himself again. And very rarely is just a stock blaster with a paint job. Very rarely has that ever literally grabbed me and just like affected me so much. And so, I mean, it's a good looking shell and all, but yeah, just such a well done paint job. Everything about that was really well done. Just the application of paint, the balance of colors, the cell shading detail and stuff was just like top notch. So yeah, it's really, really impressive build. And I just kept looking at that the whole weekend. He kind of palled around with us for a little bit, which was cool. And so we were walking along, and I'm just like staring at it like, it's just so cool. So yeah, I talked to him about that, and also his long strike build, which is like a long strike, but the back end's cut out and the front end's cut off and the bottom's cut off a little bit. And it's got flywheel to world flywheels in it with a solenoid. He's got some 3D printed parts that kind of augment the pieces that he's modified, and it's just a really sharp looking blaster. Really excited to see kind of how he goes forth with that, and what the rest of the body's going to look like. So cool stuff there as well. Again, but yeah, got to hang out with everybody a little bit. Then the next morning at Stalking Dead. Then Stalking Dead. Yeah, that's right. Really good event. Got there a little bit late, so we missed the rules and story thing. So I kind of wish I'd caught up on the story. So I don't know if that's posted anywhere of like what the I don't know if there was context, because last year there was like here's this story, here's why this is happening, and this is what the deal is, and why there's groups and blah 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 blah. So I hope there was something like that this time, and I wish that somebody had posted that somewhere, or if somebody has like a copy of the paperwork or the script that was read or whatever, if you could shoot that over to me, I'd appreciate that, just to kind of have the full context of things. But no, it's really cool, really well done. Kind of a fun venue to play at. Had a lot of texture, had a lot of like structural stuff, but also like trees, and it was all real close and kind of, it's really good, really good. I was on green team, who got just absolutely just stomped on there towards the end. But no, it wasn't a perfect event. There was some, I don't know if rules were vague or rules were just not adhered to, because again, we weren't there for the strict rules briefing, but there's lots of discussion on, wow, that was kind of like bogus, and I don't think that's how the rules were supposed to be and stuff like that. But anyway, I had a pretty good little kill streak there for a while, and then got tagged out, and I was going back to the base, took my backpack off, set it down, was just taking my belt off, and the phone rings, and I was like, oh, that's weird, and I look, and it's my wife. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And she says, oh, just seeing what you're up to. And I said, oh, well, I just died. And she says, oh, that's a bummer. And she's like, oh, so how'd it go? And I was like, oh, it's going all right. And then I hear the screams echoing everywhere. I was like, oh, I wonder what that's all about. So I'm just kind of, kicking it there for a while, kind of next to the tree and the bench, and I'm just kind of, kicking rocks around, and oh, hey, honey, everything's great. And then like the swarm comes in, and it's just madness and massacre, and people are falling down. It's madness and screaming and just chaos everywhere. I'm just like, oh, everything's cool. And she's like, they're screaming. What's going on? I was like, oh, we're just getting wasted. We're getting massacred. It's cool, whatever. I can't do anything about it. And so yeah, just everything was just gone, except for 6 people. So it was just kind of a funny to be a part of, and I kind of wish there was like footage of that, of me just just kind of kicking it and just, hey honey, and on the phone, and it's just madness and just craziness everywhere. I had a good chuckle to myself over that. But after that, I went to go check in, and I kind of got distracted with things, and never really converted to the zombie side, just because I had no place to put my bags, and I didn't want to check them in because I didn't want nobody to mess with my cool stuff, because I'm like that. So yeah, I actually was kind of milling around, just kind of scoping things out as a non-player, just kind of observing things and just appreciating things from a third-person perspective, so to speak. Watching the madness go on, and they're in the circle, what they called the circle, which was kind of by the clock tower thing, and it was a circle on the ground, elevated, and it was like a stage thing or something, I don't know. But Foam Brewer was down there with Ton, and I just kind of trotted down, and I was like, hey, not going to try to screw up your conversation here. I'm just kind of popping in to say hi. And they're like, kind of basically saying, wow, things went crazy. And there's like, I don't know if we're going to actually have enough human players to continue the game, or we'll have to change things, because they had a third act. They called it a third chapter, a third thing, a third section of the game. And they're like, because we had a killer prop we were going to use, and so, dang it, we're going to use it either way. And I was like, well, what was it? And they're like, well, we're going to have this giant dragon thing that was like a Chinese dragon, and people are going to have to shoot it. And I was like, that sounds impressive. I wonder what the heck you're even talking about, but it sounds fun. And so they said, yeah, we're going to try to make that happen either way. So they was, I think it was when they broke for dinner or something. I can't remember. No, that was after dinner. They broke for something. Anyway, they called everybody to the middle and was basically like, do we have enough people to actually continue the game? And so they basically said, okay, we're going to have to tweak a few things. And so they made their modifications or whatever, and everybody went their way, and we started the game again. And they had this giant dragon comes trotting out. And yes, just like as was described, a giant like Chinese dragon where you have like the head and it's big, train of people holding up the body of the thing. And it's got hurricane, basically. I mean, full auto, just spraying things everywhere. And so the idea was to basically shoot the dragon, but also not get killed by zombies at the same time, because if you shot the dragon, you got extra points. It was really, 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 really cool game mechanic. It might have gone better had the game gone as planned, I guess, as far as having more of a balance of people versus zombies and stuff like that. But man, props to everybody who put that together. I learned actually the next day. It's actually kind of funny. I was anyway, really, really cool. But yeah, that was kind of how the game ended and stuff like that. But the next day we were doing blaster check for super stock, and Nerm grabs me and he's like, hey, I was gonna try to catch you yesterday. And I was like, oh, what's going on? He says, yeah, I basically broke his neck trying to finish that thing, finish that dragon thing the day of, like, it sounds like they got the thing done and basically like, okay, this thing's done. Whew, now let's dress it up and get it out. So it was not like, oh yeah, we got this done ahead of time. It was like down to the wire, getting this thing put together. But he tells me, hey, I was basically screwed up his back a little bit, and he says, if I wasn't able to do this, I was going to try to grab you to be the head of the dragon because you're about the same size. And then I looked at him and realized, holy crap, we were like almost exactly the same height and relatively like the same build and everything. And I was like, I don't think I've ever analyzed anybody as much as I feel like I've just been analyzed. But it was really cool. Just I didn't participate in the dragon thing, but just the idea that I was apparently on the list for getting grabbed to assist with things was actually kind of cool. So thanks, Nerm, for thinking about me. That would have been kind of fun and very unexpected. But no, that was really impressive. Just the costumes, and they apparently had little side quests things that I didn't know that much about during the game. But yeah, they went all out for the props and the costumes and everything to make the game really immersive. It's just really well done. Props to, I mean, not props like game props, but like kudos, high fives, internet hugs and high fives to the Ragnarok crew who put that whole darn thing together. As far as the organization of things and building the props and putting the stories together and the quests and the logistics and everything, it was just I can't mentally comprehend trying to organize something of that size, and so just good job, J-Mom and the gang, for making this a thing. It's really impressive. It's really impressive what our community has been doing in the last, I would say, like the last 2 years, as far as making big events a thing. It's like I said, that's not my department. My brain doesn't work that way. My brain can say that'd be cool to have a big event, but that's as far as I can make that happen. And so, to those people who are able to, who have that talent and that gift to make that happen, that's really cool. And I really feel you're underappreciated because so many people show up to the event and say that was a good event, and then they go home. I notice, and there are people who notice, and so even if we don't thank you directly at the moment because we're distracted by trying to not die, thank you very much for your contribution and everything that you put into this event. It was really impressive, and it was a really fun and amazing thing to be a part of. So thank you very much. But yeah, the next day was super stock. Ended up didn't do a whole lot of super stock. I was kind of palling around with Alice Coat Duck because we were staying in the same place with Panda and Buff Daddy and stuff like that. And so, but she had been asked by Jangular to record some footage for the 5v5 for their team. And so I was kind of palling around with her and kind of watching her camera gear while she was out taking care of things and stuff like that. And I was just kind of soaking it in and just kind of doing what I do, which is just, I like just kind of sitting back and just not necessarily like doing things. And I love playing Nerf, but I also enjoy just kind of sitting back and just kind of enjoying the community, being a community and doing community things. That's what really kind of feeds my foam soul, so to speak. But so I was doing that, just really soaking in the 5v5, and man, you guys are good. I was tired just watching you guys, and it looks like something that would be fun if I was much in better shape and my body didn't hurt as much. Maybe I aspire to be that way. Maybe next year things will be better, and maybe I'll give that a shot. That would be kind of fun. But yeah, impressive stuff. Not only for those who are playing, but also those who are running. There again, tournament like that, of that size, and apparently the technological wizardry that went into making the scoring and the bucket timers and stuff like that. I was actually talking to Spam and also Addie, who kind of briefed me on what was going on, and that's actually some impressive technology you guys are working with, and just the potential for growth and expansion on that principle and the technology used in future games really promises for a really cool future in the hobby and just more legitimacy. I mean, looking at the field, and you have like sponsors on the barricades and everything. It's like, yeah, the barricades are still PVC and everything, but you've got like legit looking banners. It actually looks like a sports arena thing. It's just really cool. I think we're really on the precipice of real legitimacy and being taken seriously as a sport. I mean, yes, we understand this is a sport more or less. It's kind of a weird, silly niche sport, but to the point where I think people notice and be like, wow, this is actually legit. Like, the public seeing this and saying, wow, this apparently is a thing. This looks like a thing. I think we're getting to the point where we have the look. Half the teams out there had legitimate uniforms, like professional uniforms that didn't look cheap at all, and wearing, professional looking gear and handling professional looking blasters in a professional looking environment and everything. It's just like, there's like a soccer field thing out in the distance in the other end of the field that was going on, and I thought, that looks square. That looks lame. That's just a bunch of guys running around in jerseys. We look actually legit. We got branding and all this cool stuff. Is just really cool. Really, really cool thing to be a part of. I wasn't a part of it, but witnessing it and being a part of it as a community as a hobby was just really amazing. But also did have a chance to play a couple rounds of the 5v5, or not 5v5. That'd be dumb. That would hurt. Nobody wants me on their team. Superstock games. The other end, or the Superstock, was really impressive. I played a couple rounds of that. No, just really cool. Really cool event. Really cool people. Great people. Gosh, we got great people. We have such a cool community, and I say this all the time, but I don't think it can be over iterated. If that's a thing? If it's a thing, it can't. Then we can't do that. But just the amount of talent that we have in the community, and just as far as leaders and being able to not only create cool blasters and create cool things, but create events and create sports and games, and the Nerf hobby is like infinitely creative. Everything about it is creative. We're always making things and building things and just creating things. Like I said, not just blasters, but the games we play the blasters in, and the events that we play the games with the blasters in, and it's like a weird Russian doll of fun. If that's a thing. But no, really cool, and it's just, again, an amazing experience. Met so many darn nice people, not only at the Blaster Expo itself, but just then within the Stalking Dead and within the Superstock and all that. We're just being surrounded by such great people. Did I talk about the Expo, Blaster Expo? Yeah, Blaster Expo, the thing before Stalking Dead. Really cool, really cool. It was so much easier for me as a person to handle this than FoamCon. FoamCon is way too like stress and people and heat, and this was more like you just kind of get to kick back and you get to meet people and they're great and you see your friends and everything's great. And it's just so much easier for me to handle being a not people person, as far as like crowds like stress me out and stuff like that. But yeah, it was great to where you have like, you get to meet somebody really, really cool, and you get to chat with them for a little bit, and you get to show off your stuff, and it makes them happy, and then they move on to something else, and you get kind of a chance to breathe a little bit. You don't have like three people trying to talk to you at the same time, and you're like, yeah, yeah, So I feel I was able to be more one-on-one when people came to my booth, which is really cool, which I like a lot, because I like to meet people. I don't like to just be amongst, honestly, I don't like to be amongst people in general, but I do like Nerf people, and so I like to be able to communicate with those Nerf people like one-on-one, and actually like, they're like, hey, I've got this cool idea, or I like your thing, and hey, let's talk about this cool whatever. It's just really cool, and no, it's really good area, good balance of space and people. It felt like a big venue because it wasn't crowded. It was a smaller crowd than FoamCon, obviously, but it was a perfect balance. So whoever did the logistics of, we have this many people, we need this much space, perfect, love it. But no, it was just really cool, just be able to actually make the rounds and get to see everybody, the other booths, and shake hands and high fives and hugs and all that, which is always great. But no, it was good. The event itself was really good overall, just really good, not only as an event but also for me personally. New work schedule, which I think I still haven't really talked about in depth on the channel, which I'm sorry for. But yeah, just a lot of stress and just a lot of work right now. And so I haven't really had a chance to do a whole lot of nerfy things, and so I was really like, I was really drained, just kind of mentally, physically, and emotionally, and so this was a really good chance to fuel up on just that good old nerfy community love and stuff like that, which is really good. So thank you very much for all those of you who kind of helped fill my tank a little bit. I really needed that, and I appreciate you. So, but no, it was such a good thing. If you're watching this and you had a chance to go and didn't think it was going to be fun, so you didn't go, you should have gone. Like anything, and I think I've said it with every event I've been to. It's if you have a chance to go to a big community event, Ragnarok, FoamCon, if you're in the UK, FoamFest, I would love to go to that. I don't know if I could swing that next year. That's way too soon, I think, for me. It's just like financially and schedule wise and work and stuff like that. But I would love to have a chance to go and do Foam Fest sometime because you guys have just an awesome little community over there from what I've seen, and it'd be cool to see that side of things a little bit. But no, like, yeah, if you get a chance to do a big Nerf event, do it. Yeah, just do it. Even if you're not like an active player, just to kind of be in there and just soak in that the community vibes a little bit. We have such an awesome community. We do have jerks, and I always have to put a little asterisk there that we have a great community and we're just a wonderful accepting community. We still have jerks. There are jerks, and there's that you can't get any organization's going to have jerks in it. But I would still say the majority of our hobby is just good people. We have so many good people. Nerf people are my favorite people right now. But yeah, it's just such a good thing, and I think if I just don't close it out, we're just going to keep talking about how good people are, and I think I've made my point with that. But thank you very much for all of those who put on the event, all aspects of the event. Chris, Panda, who provided my housing and transportation, which I really appreciate to you. Thank you. Those of you that I just got to hang out with, and those of you who I got to dine with, and those of you who just showed up with a hug or a handshake or a high five or a hey, look what I made, things like that. Thank you very much. You're really appreciated. And until next time, I guess, wishing blue skies and green lights to you and yours, and may all your troubles be teeny weeny ones.